there and everyone. That's great. So you've worked out the timings and things, right? Yeah. Oh, here's Jonathan.
I haven't gone anywhere, so.
This is our great ensemble.
Listening to me a bit.
Yeah.
Just think how wonderful to actually got some classical instruments into the club.
Yeah.
We've been planning for ages and now we've kind of get you in.
And Wawa and Susu are from Myanmar. Patrick's from Thailand. Juris is from Latvia.
Okay.
And Latvia is from Taiwan. So it's really
All.
What do we play?
A lot.
Oh yeah, what's
We'll take care.
the timing? So you know that we read some poems and then do some music, then read some poems and then do some music.
You showing, please, and we play.
Okay.
So, do you stay
Parts of 20 minutes each. Yes. Music.
start with music and then it's better.
I think so. I'll also say that we're very honoured to have the Co-Culture Ensemble, collective of musicians and
But don't say,
don't
say,
Okay.
please.
All right.
We have problem.
Oh, okay. I'll just say.
Politics.
Okay. Well, we don't like
Very
politics.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say Co-Culture Ensemble.
Culture. Yes, perfect.
Can I say what you is it specialising in contemporary music and the original numbers?
Myanmar classical music and
Thai traditional music.
music, all music doesn't that are full culture.
Yeah. So can I say specialising in Myanmar and Thai music
And European music. European music too. Yeah, European. American music.
Mostly Myanmar music.
Sunny, look here.
Patrick?
I'll take care, ball.
Just because I may not get
I know.
One is about revolutionary song that she has written with Anna, and the other part about peace and right.
Yes.
So
So
they're
you've
all
written your
connected.
revolutionary songs.
Yeah.
And are you singing?
Yes.
Oh, good. So singing and music. All right.
And music related to the coup.
Okay, great. I'm just going to take a photo.
Oh, I recommend if you're singing, you have to stay up with microphone. Abi?
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's very hard to take a photo in here too. I'll send that to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll start very soon.
Okay. They will start with reading poem. Not that one.
remember this guy?
Huh?
Remember this guy?
Yes, I do, yes.
He's with
No, why?
this girl. Wife, yeah?
With his wife, yes.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you again.
Yeah?
Nice to see you
You are
again.
together?
That's it.
Now I'm very happy to see you together.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just got back from Myanmar actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know from
We know
last time
your
we
history.
explained.
We know your history already.
Alright.
Yes, we meet.
Sorry to tell you.
We meet one.
Yeah, good to see you. We thought we'd come again, right?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Irena and another piece, yeah? If you stay up, you can do
No, can sit.
if you stay, you can much more better feel. It's very easy to take up microphone and stay and sing. Up to you, over, yeah? Yeah? Okay, if like this.
Anyway, microphone like it, cannot.
This one can take up easy. This easy.
If I play half, I have to
Yeah.
adjust. Anyway, half is later. Play the solo first.
Yeah.
Can I do?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
ညီမလေးမောင်မတည့်ရဆိုခိုင်းတာစိတ်ရတာမတည့်ရ
Little bit too sharp.
ငါတို့ရဲ့ရုံနဲ့တွေ့တာတယောက်နဲ့ဆိုတော့ပေါ့ငါ improvise လုပ်တဲ့အချိန်မှာဆိုတော့နောက်ဆုံးရှေ့မှာလည်းဆိုလို့ရတယ်အနှိမ့်နဲ့လည်းလိုက်ဆိုလို့ရတယ်နော်
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Hi. Just to let you know, we're starting in 2 minutes with a short kick-off of the photographic exhibition and then roll into our events. I'm Gwen Robinson, past president of the Foreign Correspondents Club of Thailand and also running some of the Myanmar programs for the club and amongst many other things. And just a couple of housekeeping announcements about tonight. We have truly delicious mohinga soup being made by the fabulous Miss Lunatics chefs, and there's a couple of other Myanmar dishes, but because this is a special night and it's not usually on our menu, those dishes will be charged with cash. So if you don't mind, the Burmese dishes are paid with cash. Everything else you can pay for on the FCCT card. So sorry, that was a very boring announcement. I think I'd like, I'll just say a couple of words about the lineup tonight. We'll have a short launch for the photographic exhibition you see on the walls there with Rosalia Sciortino, the former director of the Asia Regional Director at the Rockefeller Foundation and currently Associate Professor at Mahidol University and founding director at SEA Junction, which I'm sure a lot of you in this room, if you've been to Myanmar events, would know SEA Junction's Myanmar events have been fabulous. And Leah is going to say a few things about this exhibition, and then we'll move very quickly to the launch of our featured book tonight, the anthology of protest poetry and literature, with some readings. And after that, we're very, very honoured to have with us tonight in the corner there, you can't miss them, the Co-Culture Ensemble, a collective of great musicians from all over the place, from Latvia and Thailand to Myanmar and Taiwan, who are going to play a collection of music, both Thai, Myanmar and European, including some original music inspired by the Myanmar Revolution, written by Wawa over there, which will also see some songs. So we'll have a bit of poetry and reading and then music and then back to a bit more reading and then music and then the floor is all yours and you can drink and eat and be merry, but feel free to keep ordering throughout the event. So Leah, I'd like to pass this over to you. If you want to, maybe, do you want to talk from here? Maybe easier. I think it's maybe here. We're showing the photos you see on the screen are the ones on the wall, and Leah will probably tell you, but they're all for sale. I think they're a fabulous price. The very large ones are 1,000 baht. The medium is 650, and the smaller ones are just 350. There's also cards over there. So I really recommend if you like any of these images, and the proceeds will go to the Myanmar Media Support Fund. So I'll just pass over to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Gwen, and I am very honored to be invited at the FCCT. We are also a public venue, so it's very nice to see this collaboration with this major public venue in Bangkok. I also thank Anneli, who has also been involved in this preparation. This exhibition was first shown at the BACC in December, and we have done it with the idea to highlight the very important role of women. And as you can see, very diverse, very important, not only demonstration. We have focus on the demonstration part, but women, of course, have played a lot of role also raising funds, relief, and many other, supporting their family, many other role. And they have done this at great risk We know that they have been arrested, tortured, killed, wounded. The first victims in Myanmar were 2 women, actually. The first was just covering after a bus, and the other one was in the front line with what has become a famous "Everything Will Be Okay." Angel is the name of this fallen hero. So they are doing also at great risk of sexual harassment and sexual violence, a risk that is somewhat increased for women and LGBT people compared to men, but of course men are also exposed in the context of Myanmar. So women continue to challenge the dictatorship, and they have done so in a very creative way. If you look at the photograph, I think you can get inspiration also for other women movement in this region, because they have linked the fight for democracy with the fight against patriarchy. They have used symbols. You can see in some of the picture on this side, they use bra, they use napkins, female napkins, things that normally are taboo to discuss, but they challenge this idea of militarism and patriarchy at the same time. And I think this is a very important contribution, which actually in the Western world, feminist movement can learn with. So without further ado, I want just to thank some of the people that have been crucial. First, Latapol, Kumbom is chatting, okay. Kumbom from SEA Junction is the curator of this exhibition. We have collected photographs from 2 main groups. The first one is Project Myanmar, a group of young journalists with Laurie Siegel. Please come here to the front. So this is more really from journalists, but the other one is from the Women League of Burma, the Women League of Burma, and they have shared with us generously their photograph of their activities. So you will see this very strong feminist approach to protest against the military is coming from the Women League of Burma, and particularly Nang Mut Mut and Su Sun Mui, who I believe will be also invited at a panel at FCCT on the 1st of February. So thank you to both of you for both these 2 groups which have made this exhibition possible. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Leah, and I might add that enormous thanks are due to Leah Shortino herself, who actually helped not just arrange the photography exhibition, but the musicians, and has been a tremendous source of inspiration and brainstorming about tonight. And I should say, thinking about tonight, our initial idea was to coincide with the anniversary of the February 1st coup. Why wouldn't you on a Myanmar benefit night? But we decided that that sort of night is a much more earnest kind of discussion with some experts and analysts, and we wanted to have a real celebration as well of the creativity and resistance we've seen in the wake of the coup over the last year. And I think everyone in this room has probably been impressed by the extraordinary resilience and also even sense of humour of the Myanmar people in their protests, even faced with horrific things, the courage as well. So we just wanted it to be a more joyous celebration of this kind of creativity and as well as the spirit of protest. And also, as I think you all know, the Foreign Correspondents Club of Thailand is extremely committed to supporting the right to free speech, not just in Thailand, where there are some real problems, and throughout the region, but particularly in Myanmar since February 1st, where independent media, as you all know, along with artists, activists, ethnic people, all kinds of people, anyone who opposes the military is persecuted, with many journalists in hiding. and often having lost their equipment, had it seized or escaped the country with almost nothing, and have continued very bravely to do their work, as you can see from a very vibrant social media that is still, even if you don't read Burmese, you'll probably know from Twitter that there is an extraordinary lot going on. We're very worried about the announcement of the outlawing of VPN networks in Myanmar and what kind of effect that would have. But even 1 year ago, when we heard that the internet was going to be closed down, and it was every night for months, it was extraordinary what people managed to get out onto social media, and we are hoping and praying that it'll continue. And we are also trying to support independent media, which is why a lot of the proceeds tonight will go to the Myanmar Media Fund. There's a donation box up the front, but if at any point you want to donate anything, including used equipment, which is being gratefully received by Myanmar journalists who make it to Thailand, and we have even sent some into relevant places inside. So anything you have that is like a used computer, if it's in good working order, think about that. Or cash donations are also, you can see on the FCCT website. Anyway, I really want to turn now to one of the highlights of the evening before we get to our music, is the launch of a new anthology, witness poems and essays, called Picking Off New Shoots Will Not Stop the Spring. This is a up to the minute, it's just being published next month. We have a steal on this from Ethos Books in Singapore. You can order these books online from Ethos. I'll announce some details later, or maybe we'll put it on the screen. Or you can just search for Ethos Books Singapore. And it is an anthology edited by Thett, a very well-known Burmese author and poet, who we have on screen, I think, Kuntam. There he is, Thett, Mingalaba. Hello. And his co-editor, Brian Haman. And Thett will read some work tonight and tell you a bit about the book, but he probably very modestly won't mention that his own new book is being published I think this week, is it, Thett, or next week, your new book?
Yes, it's out this week.
Okay, Bamboo Phobia. So keep an eye for that. And I'll hand over to you, Thett, to kick it off. Tell us a little bit about the book. Maybe you can do the first reading, or is it Jonathan or me? We've got a couple of readers helping tonight read the English language of some of these poems. Some of the Myanmar poems were written in English, so we won't have readings in Burmese of those, but some of the work will be read in Burmese and then read in English translation. So over to you.
Thank you, Gwen, and the FCCT team for hosting this pre-launch of Picking Off New Shoots Will Not Stop the Spring, witness poems and essays from Myanmar, 1988-2021. I'd like to tell you that Picking Off New Shoes Will Not Stop the Spring is a rally cry out of the protest. So the title is based on the rally cry. And one of the rally cries I just noticed from the photo exhibition reads, when it comes to security for women, the military is not even as competent as a sanitary pad. So it's such rally cry and creative couplets that inspired us to come up with such an anthology to begin with. So after the coup last year, we thought of, there was an unprecedented outpouring of grief and anger against the coup, and they manifested online as essays and poems and a lot of informal posts and writings. So we wanted to translate them. With Brian Hammond, I thought of that, translate them and document them in a more durable format. But at that time in February and early March, we didn't have any blueprint for the book. But in March and May, respectively, two of my poet friends who I knew in Boston were murdered by the regime. Keza Win, poet Keza Win, whose poem I'll read later, and Thett. I was living in Zagai in Burma in 2017 and 2018, so I knew them well. So at that point, I thought of preserving their poetry as well as their memory as well. So the book developed into preserving protest and witness writings and essays in a durable format into preserving the memory of the fallen protesters and poets as well. And then I discovered more protest literature, for instance, by poet Minlu, who was jailed, Minlu and his collaborators were jailed many years in the 1990s under the military regime for writing a poem called What's Going On, critiquing the then military regime, known as the State Law and Order Restoration Council. So we thought of including those poems as well, translating them and including them in the anthology. That's how the whole anthology came about. And picking off new shoes will not stop the spring. And we ordered the essays and the writings in the reverse chronological order. So the predominant major portion of the book is writings and essays and poems from 2021, including some first-hand account of the protests. And the following section is from the transitional era, 2010s, and then the last one, 1988 to 2010. So that's about the book. And now I'd like to begin with a poem by Keza Win. I'd like to read in Burmese. Keza Win was a protest leader in Mohinga, and he was killed. He was shot in the head on the 3rd of March in Mohinga, and he was dragged by the feet and hauled into a military van, and his body was released the following day. So this poem is the final poem by Keza Win and dated 23rd February 2021. And it's in English, it's scarce. And in English, Gwen will read in English and I'll read in Burmese. Keza Win, Kaungum Nya Ajao. Tolan Yega, Beji Mi, Harani Ma Punepam. Tolan Yema Pungi, Lamabo, Puntwet Ware Kaungunga, Sagarkum Biodila. Mesari net, Tiri in Sain Yajima, the Boraji Yajatia, Jiba Dila. Diet Yasura, Win you Nemaya, she to be Kumayame. Tolan Yebe, Twin you Nemaya, Tui dying Yetela Maya. Matui Winero, Tolan Ye Senata, Kanyama Hoyi, Genobe. Thank you so much. I'd like to request Gwen to read the poem in English.
Thank you, Coco Thett. So, as he mentioned, this is by Keza Win, his final poem. I think you mentioned the date, 23rd of February. He was shot dead by Myanmar security forces at a protest in Moniwa, as Coco Thett said. It's called Skulls. Revolution will be in bloom only when air, water, and earth, all the nutrients, are in agreement. Before the revolution opened out, a bullet blew someone's brains out on the street. Did that skull have a message for you? Faced with the devil, is this or that statement relevant? In the Dharma of Da, you can't just wave the sword. Step forward and cut them down. The revolution won't materialize out of your mere thoughts. Like blood, one must rise. Don't ever waver again. The fuse of the revolution is either you or myself. And that's it. So thank you. Over to you.
I think next, I would like to request Jonathan Thett to read a poem by one of the most prominent poets from Burma, SEA Lin. The name of the poem is Portrait of Coming Soon.
Otherwise, won't be able to hear me.
Yeah, you might as well.
Thank you very much, Co-Culture. So this is The Spirit by Mo Wei.
Oh, okay, The Spirit by Mo Wei.
Yes, right. I sleep with the spirit on my forehead, like a talisman. I would leave it in a high place before I visit the loo. The spirit gets stopped and frisked in the house, on the bus and on the motorcycle. It gets stopped and frisked anywhere, anytime. Fallen heroes may be lifeless. They are not spiritless. Their spirit is tattooed on our skin. When burnt alive, the spirit sizzles and pops like the flesh. Like gemstones, the spirit outshines the barricade's bomb blasts. The spirit body is the spirit. The spirit breath is the spirit. The spirit flag is the spirit.
Thank you, Jonathan. The context of the poem is, burning of a person in Mandalay. That protester was burned alive in Mandalay in March. And that was the inspiration behind that poem called Spirit by Mo Wei. And next, I'd like to read a poem by SEA Lin. He has written several portrait poems of the coup, the portrait of the coup. And this one is called Portrait of Coming Soon, or Machami Lami Suraye Pondu. Negin Chongdao, Milong Mine Pinide, Biswe Long Joani Lutia. Che del that the Nyayin, Tumaho, Jay Tedrins up a yin. Tumaho, Sazia, Machidore, Yabara. Machimi ao, Josa Bime, Pinide. Tuha, Gosi, Tere Mamat Lanida. Quatega Jiha, the Zassa don't look. I would like to request Jonathan to read the poem in English, please.
Sure. So this is the portrait of Coming Soon by SEA Lin. In broad daylight, running through a field ablaze, a man on fire. In a pedicure-manicure saloon, in a shaded study, reading news, or in anxiety thinking of my next meal, I try not to look, but I know he's charging right at me. The water in my cupped hands trembles.
Thank you so much. Next is by a Rohingya woman poet called Thida Shania. And I would like...
I think it's, Hui Yi Tan.
Hui Yi Tan, yes.
Yeah.
Could you,
From Singapore Straits Times. By the way, the poems being read just in English were written in English, I believe. So there's no...
Yes, it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Hui Yi, over to you.
An ox for a wad of pan. What does this air suffer from? My lungs suffocate when I breathe. Why does the sun look so desolate? There is twilight without dawn. How can I satiate hunger? An ox swapped for a wad of pan. Where can I hide my body? Corpses everywhere, in every house. How can I die in my land? My kin have been buried alive. How can I cross the border? Rivers bleed human blood. What happened to the Queen of Justice? I search for her everywhere. Nowhere do I find her. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that beautiful reading. And Thida Shania is a Rohingya poet, and she was in a refugee camp in Cox's Bazar for years and years. But the good news is that now she has been, after a long struggle with the Bangladeshi authorities, she has been resettled in Canada. She is one of the lucky ones, and many thousands of the Rohingya refugees remain in Bangladesh. Next, I would like to request Thida to read extracts from her essay.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the essays I wrote in very early days after the revolution, the Spring Revolution. This is called Picking of New Shoots Will Not Stop the Spring. Teen girls in white tops and jeans confidently hold a placard that reads, "Picking of leaves won't stop the spring." Their faces show neither anger nor sorrow. They look determined. They are also shouting, "We are youths. We have a future." They don't believe in anger or sadness, but they do believe in hope. That group of teen girls belongs to tens of thousands of young people out on the streets in big and small cities, more than 300 all over Myanmar. Of course, they have hope. They voted in the general election in November 2020, mainly for the NLD, National League for Democracy. They are the 5 million strong of first-time voters. Not all of them were happy with the NLD government during the 4 years prior to the election. However, most of them had voted for the NLD and are now calling for the release of Aung San Suu Kyi and President U Win Myint. They also carry banners that demand free our leaders, respect our votes. They must have been overjoyed at having the chance to vote for the first time as responsible citizens. How can they be happy if their votes are not respected or recognized? Their fights against the junta is not for the political party they voted for, but simply for their votes and their rights. A light truck is parked under the sun. Middle-aged men pack noodles into disposable lunch boxes, while a young man distributes lunch boxes to protesters under the shade of an overpass. 3 teen girls in Nike caps, trainers, and fancy dresses carry blue bin bags to collect throwaways directly from the hands of the people and rubbish from the street. 3 muscular men wait at a corner with their 3-wheel carts to dispose of refuse. The placard attached in front of their carts say, "We are no municipal workers, we are volunteers." On the other side of the road, out from the booth of a new SUV, some smart young men announce, "Water and fresh juice is available here. Take what you want and leave your garbage here in this box." Some street boys and girls are enjoying a variety of free meats and drinks, receiving food packages and stowing them away in their worn-out backpacks. Some of them also collect empty bottles. None of the street kids are treated badly by anyone. When a 10-year-old street vendor girl expresses that she would like to offer her watermelon to the protesters, a young boy enables her charitable spirits by paying for half of all her costs. They look at each other with big smiles. Rich people politely collect rubbish from poor protesters, and they appreciate each other's role. Those scenes are now the new normal on the streets of Myanmar. From 8 a.m. in the morning until 5 p.m. in the evening, tens of thousands of people are out on the streets. After 5 p.m., when the protests are over, no rubbish is left behind on the street. A spring revolution, still going strong after 3 weeks and with no signs of abating, has introduced a new self-disciplined lifestyle to all generations and social groups. Almost a month into the protests, and there is no division based on class, gender, race, or religion. No bad words, no bad behaviors, no looking down, no personal appraisals. There were almost no car accidents. Even when one did occur, it was solved amicably, not in the usual way with a quarrel or a fight. Only one common enemy, the military dictatorship, brought such diverse people together. Within our history, this is a rare moment of unity, discipline, determination, and cooperation. How dare someone say that the people of Myanmar do not deserve democracy? No sooner had some people noticed that some protesters couldn't afford to commute to protest in town centers than a free ride campaign was started. Some donors put currency notes for travel expenses inside free food packages. Cash envelopes were thrown into taxis carrying protesters. As soon as pro-military thugs smashed and destroyed protesters' cars, some workshops offered them free repairs and replacement. When a military truck went into a poor neighborhood and offered free rides to garner support, many people rejected the offer and banked pots and pans instead. But some wanted the free rides, complaining that they were poor. As soon as this was hot, a local store owner announced that those who needed quality rice could get it from her store free of charge. One woman in a village declared that all villagers could have free meals at her house until the junta gave her power on the condition that people join the protests. From the very first day of the coup, it feels as though there has been no strict level government presence. People self-organized and mobilized their communities. The committee representing Pidangsu Luto, CRPH, also asked that people form their own grassroots administrative units in order to define junta-appointed village-level administration. In many places, having met with alarming levels of resistance from locals, the junta's administrative staffs withdrew from their posts. This is a new normal in Myanmar. It's not just small vendors that have refused to do business with police and soldiers. The number of restaurants and other enterprises who have joined the boycott against military-owned businesses is on the rise. The people of Myanmar have ever boycotted the national lottery as it is owned by the military. The junta has announced that lottery winners will only be notified on 15 March instead of the first day of the month as usual. Social punishments are quick and effective. When the police opened fire at the protest in Naypyidaw, and a 19-year-old girl was fatally shot in the head, people investigated the crime immediately. It didn't take long for them to disclose the culprit's name and rank, along with the names of his wife and family members and their businesses. This kind of public investigation is incredibly swift and results come in shocking detail. Activism that names and shames the oppressors is also a new normal for keyboard fighters. Some police and military troops can now be seen disguised in foot-length clothes. On February 24th in Dawei, a town in southern Myanmar, police raided the house of a civil servant, a former military officer. The person had been supporting Aung San Suu Kyi and posted some protest messages on social media. A video record of that raid was shared widely on Facebook, in which the son of the couple was heard defending his mother. His father was not helped. He sounded like a kid no older than 7 or 8. Only his voice could be heard in the video. He was courageously arguing with the police officer, saying, "You guys are not trustworthy." His words reflect people's feeling towards any member of the armed forces in the country, especially state police and the army. Even a child these days dares his voice, voices his opinion. This is also a new normal of the struggle. At least 15 people were killed by end of the February. The livelihood for thousands of civil servants is at great risk. The livelihood of the general public is also uncertain. A tree is shaken up by a gust. Leaves fall permanently. Nonetheless, who can stop the spring, the revolution? Thank you.
Thanks, Thida. Thank you very much. And Coco Thett, should we, just to check, we've got our musicians here. Should we take a break, or we've only got a few more poems, or are you happy to take a break and we have some music, or?
Yeah, we're happy to take a break.
All right, shall we, we've got our
A music
Co-Culture-
break.
Okay, is that all right? And Thida, it's fantastic you could join us at a difficult time, but we'll take a break, and if you want to come back on, listen, or stay and listen to the music, we'll go over there to the Co-Cultural Ensemble. Mawawa, do you want to say anything, or would one of you like to say a couple of things to explain your music? Up to you.
First of all, thank you for inviting us in this lovely evening, and it is such an honor for us to be invited here. So we are.
I think you have to start again. Maybe
Sorry.
I think it had to be turned on.
Thank you.
So good evening, and thank you for inviting us in this lovely evening, and then it is such an honor for us to be here. And we are from Co-Culture Ensemble group, and we prepared several songs. And then firstly, we are going to play Thida. This is the song for encouraging the people of Myanmar, and unity is strength, and we vow to loyal to our nation, and please enjoy it. The second one is do not give up. After escaping from the darkness of our lives, we will reach to the new brighter path. Our faith will set us free. Our lives are not always smooth, but we must do our best and never give up.
Young Nita, Niti, go young me. Young Titi, Josa Tama, Tima, Almilum Young me mola. Then the Allah Hamachom with a door, Tawon Gozi Ati, she's a love. Show a pity, Ming a cho piet toi mia chu tua ta wo thai yue te ka ge ko jo sun nai ma Bin le bi hello kaya smele and it ari tatashiga kayan kwe yui ta si ne ba se nyami gro ma so atati demendo hadri tayane mamine o show bine minge cho piet toi mia chu tua ta wo thai yue te ka ge ko chu sun nai ma ta wo thai yue te ka ge ko chu sun nai ma Young Nita, Niti, go young me. Young Titi, Josa Tama, Chema, Almilum young night mele. Then the Allah Hamachom with a dosh inside and quapi ming a. Then the Allah Hamachom with a dosh inside and quapi ming a. Then the Allah Hamachom with a dosh inside and quapi ming a. Thank you very much.
The next music is revolution. Whatever or whenever we are not afraid to fight for our freedom. The whole nation must arise and be alert. Dictatorship must end.
Ana shin cha shong bo phit ya myi Chao taya ne chung naung lo ma ya ke bi Phit tu twe tai pwe twa tin phit bi Na ki me adama ne lo ye cha bi Ana yu cha le bi Ana shin sne so taya myi Nga ro ye yo ne twe ta ro di Ana shin cha shong bo phit ya myi Chao taya ne chung naung lo ma ya ke bi Phit tu twe tai pwe twa tin phit bi Ya ki me adama ne lo ye cha bi Ana yu cha le bi Yo ta long no cha lo te shi ya myi Ana shin sne so taya myi Thank you very much.
Co-Cultural Ensemble, and I think you'll be back for another set, a second set. Meanwhile, I think we're just going to go back to Thett in London. Thett, are you there?
Hello?
Have we, Kuntam, have we lost him? Oh, there he is. Hi.
Hello?
Good. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Now we would like to continue with a poem by Mei Yui. Coup is not just, the only carnage in Burma last year. There was also COVID-19, exacerbated by the coup, of course, by the mismanagement of the regime. So this poem by Mei Yui called Pretense. Mei Yui is a poet from southern part of Myanmar, from Mye, and her brother, Maung Yupai, who is also a poet, remains in jail in Mye prison. This poem by Mei Yui is about the carnage of COVID-19, and Mayuri lost her uncle to COVID-19, and it's about that. And I would like to request Guan to read the poem in English, please.
So I'll read it now.
Yes, please.
Yes. Thanks, Coco Thett. So this poem is Pretense by the poet May Yue. Pretense. No one wants to be weepy. Each time I hear a name, I wonder which list it's from the register of the dead or the survived. Tiny little insects which live for a day to go away in the night may be mocking us, our ephemeral lives. The deceased or the living, where shall I write their name down? Whose name will be published? On what side of my memory? How long will it last? Will it be washed away with soap? Will it be clawed out with scabs? If I can't have chicken, can I have pork? In this country, that's become a celebrity of a country all the world over. A chicken egg may be a sell while it lasts. Things must be preserved in resin. When corpses were piling up, fortunately, shall we just say, fortunately, while the crematorium was available for a while, my uncle turned into smoke. I was happy, sad. Happy or sad? I didn't know where to begin. I hid behind a face covering. I got away for a while.
Thank you, Guan, for this beautiful reading. And final poem. Our final poem is by Min A, and in English it's called Map of Myanmar. And this is about much of the Burmese people who are trapped like tall grass between the fight of two bulls. And this is about the desperation that's been faced by the youth of Myanmar. Now, I would like to read first in Burmese, and I would like to request Jonathan to read in English. Minyei A. Nemapi Mibo. Pelonza apye, Tete Sugain Tare, Jotong Ye. Jobo Yulare Yine, Yobo Meshiore. Pa Salu Male Miro, Pa Ma Luciam Shibulu Pigere. The Chinga Donan Ribo, De Yosiam Luro. The Chinga Nichi Ming and Yasi, Lo Casiam Luro. Janza Ya, Diniama, Dadui Jok the Kushide. Midwinda Dishide. Pa Salu Male Miro, Pa Ma Luciam Shilu, Piampi like de. Pelonza appear, Digaviago, Tagebare. Time Pie Eche Wongo, Campman, Twetchet, Nine on board. Thus, by Minyang A, Map of Myanmar, I would like to request Jonathan to read the English version, please.
Thank you, Coco Thett. So this is the Map of Myanmar by Minyan A. All that remain are a pebble in my fist, a water bottle in my backpack, and a heap of bones. What's next? They ask. No next, I answered. No need to climb the mountains of the past. No need to row towards the rivers and rivulets of the past. The sacred text says there's a whetstone here. There is natural gas here. What's next? They asked. No next, I answered. For a clue, I will leave this poem so you can work out the depth and breadth of the country.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. And I think final reading will be by Thida from one of our essays.
Thida. I hope we've got her back. Thida. Kuntam, have we got Thida on screen?
Yes.
Oh, good. Welcome
Sorry.
back.
I don't think I'm going to read all two, but it's okay. Let me. This is another piece I contributed for this book. It's under a pseudonym, Suragamika. This is, I wrote it in Burmese, but translated by Thett. Thank you, Thett. And the title of this piece is Shifting Targets and Transformation of the Spring Revolution. A target, as opposed to targets in archery or shooting practice, may be defined as a focal point of undesirable things. A target is not a goal, but on the way to one's goal, targets have to be overcome. The revolutionary masses must identify and overcome targets after targets to achieve their revolutionary goal. The Spring Revolution was very peaceful in February, in a nationwide uprising of peoples from all walks of life. Entire villages and towns took to the streets. It was very disciplined. There were donations of food, water, and medicines, as well as volunteer refuse collectors. Down with the military dictatorship, and recognize our votes were the targets. We witnessed a solidarity we never thought existed in Burmese society. Rich and poor, male and female, race and religion, those notions became redundant. Words would fail to describe extraordinary matter or loving kindness demonstrators show to each other in those days. It was lively and lovely. The target of the Spring Revolution may be down with the military dictatorship, but the revolution does not turn its back on Metta. This human principle will remain a key characteristic of the Spring Revolution. In March, the Honduras response to the Spring Revolution changed. Quite often, a person who was picked up at night will have to be collected from hospital the following morning as a dead body. In the case of Zomyat Lin, a community leader and teacher from Thida Township in Yangon, there was more than enough evidence that unspeakable torture was involved. The authorities claimed that the detainee had fallen 30 feet to his death while trying to escape from custody. And yet, his body, eyes gouged out, facial skin flayed, teeth missing, tongue blackened and melted, internal organs absent, speaks volumes about the circumstances of his horrendous death. There was a recurrent pattern in cracking down on the protests in Yangon. Mandalay and Nyai, protesters were shot in the head or in other vital parts. The soldiers shoot without warning. In cold blood, they also shoot people in the back, into a crowd helter-skelter on the run. They shoot at ambulances. Medical workers were beaten up while trying to collect dead bodies or help the wounded. In the case of 19-year-old Jezin from Mandalay, who was shot in the head on 3rd March, her body was exhumed in the middle of the night and examined to debunk the truth that she was killed by a bullet. Another pattern emerged. Snipers were shooting at the barricades people had built on the street. I would just go to nearly the end of the piece. In response to the military's position, revolutionaries didn't lose sight of their target, namely to impede the Honduras administration with new and innovative means. With mutual understanding, support, and sympathy, they were determined to sustain the momentum of the revolution as long as they could. When the shootings got out of hand, Protests without people were staged. There was a protest of breaking down cars without drivers. There was a protest of the Thida, the Burmese twice similar to tumbling Kelly. Candlelight protests, protests of souls, muted protests that wouldn't provoke a cow's call were also common. Night protests, protesters' codes were staged at times when terrorists were not on the alert. Bazaars were on strike too. There were talks about self-defense to fortify one's home and to fight back. But most people remained unarmed and engaged in peaceful protests. Nevertheless, the regime became increasingly murderous. There were an estimated 50 to 70 fatalities in a single day in Thida township in Yangon. People were overwhelmed with grief, resentment, and rage. Car tires that were used to blockade roads were set on fire and went up in clouds of smoke, darkening the sky over Yangon. The scene in March couldn't be more different from February, when streets were swept clean by volunteers after each protest. Against the backdrop of a flyover and a smoke-filled sky, people continued to give alms to the monks in the morning. Despite the internet issue, a social media post by a physician or one of the hundreds of doctors and nurses who were engaged in the civil disobedience movement but were treating wounded protesters was widely shared. The people are amazing. There was this night curfew, but one packages of rice and fried eggs, coconut curry noodles, and water bottles arrived overnight. They were very generous to us medical professionals. Charity ambulances and Red Cross volunteers wouldn't just drop off the wounded. They would also help transfer patients to relevant departments such as for X-rays. They were drenched in sweat, but didn't take a break. An elderly man who was shot in the chest with blood oozing out of his wound said, "It hurts a little." A young man whose arm was smashed by a bullet said, "I'm okay, sister. Please go and help more serious cases." Another boy whose calf muscle was pierced by a bullet said, "What a relief. It isn't the shin bone." I saw Minagay in the morning and offered him some money for medicine. He declined, pushing the money back into my hands. Today, a man whose left arm was amputated said, "I'm feeling fine." There are too many serious cases queuing up for the operation theater. Some people keep asking when their relatives will get treatment. But the patients themselves are amazing. No one has the heart to demand, "Please see me first." If these people do not overcome, who will? That's the night I saw many, many heroes in one place, Thida, 14 March 2021. In all of those first-hand accounts, one could see how people prioritize each other and help each other out in the face of threats and duress by a tremendous adversary. Between medical doctors and their helpers, there were no more ranks. They all walked hand in hand. There were Buddhist monks among the food donors. If the army was putting too much pressure on one area, people from the neighboring quarters would come out in the street and make some noise to relieve pressure on those who were being attacked. The determination that we should suffer more so that our neighbors would suffer less was often hard in solidarity. The masses continued to protest without lowering their flagpoles. Their target remained down with the military dictatorship. Some of them began to use cheese, catapults, and gas masks. There were reports of retaliation in some places. Some people were pushed to fight back by military violence. The Spring Revolution has been transformed by the atrocities that the military has inflicted on people. And yet, even when treated inhumanely, we have seen that most people remained kind, generous, and supportive of each other. Most people held onto their ethics and principles. On the other hand, both ethics and targets of the military council look at if a bomb has hit their heart. The masses continue to be principled, ethical, and remain focused on their targets. A revolution will end only when targets are hit and smashed. The Burmese masses have proven that they are revolutionaries capable of hitting their targets. The revolution will prevail. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Thida. So, Coco Thett, over to you. Do you have some final remarks?
Thank you so much, Thida and Gwen, for hosting this pre-launch of Picking Off New Shoots Will Not Stop the Spring, Witness Poems and Essays from Myanmar, 1988-2021. The ebook of this anthology is available free of charge on our publisher website on 29th January. And there's a limited print run of, it's a pro bono project. We are not, print run of 600 books available at those books. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Right, and people can easily find Ethos Books' website, I presume, if they want to buy it. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Coco Thett, and we wish you luck, and maybe you can do another reading for your new book sometime.
Yeah,
here.
maybe later. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
And I think we'd like to turn back to our Co-Culture Ensemble there for another round of music. And a reminder to all, the waiters are going around. If you do want another drink, or just raise your hand and hopefully someone will come over. Wawa and Susu, over to you.
So this time we are going to play Wawa music. That is the title of this song. Federal. Because like Wawa composed this music and arranged by Patrick. So this music is about the path to democracy is not far when federal brothers and sisters join hand in hand. Be united. Keep up the fight and let's win this battle fast. Let's destroy this unjust, power-crazed dictatorship from their roots.
Democracy ga joye nama Fedre pieduro niña la twe ta ana yumyago nyela tola nye ana yumyadi nyenja shoyami Nize hey Between ni naundo Nize hey Between ni naundo Zem shoden Nyen temo Dai tomle Admane Anashiyu Amye piase Democracy ga Doye ni nama Fedre pieduro Niña la twe ta Ana yumyago Nye Democracy ga doye ni nama Fesre pidu do Ninya la dwe ta Ana yum yago Nile tole ni Ana shum yadi Sinta show yami Democracy ga doye ni nama Fesre pidu do Ninya la dwe ta. Thank you very much.
No, bebeji yellow. The next music is Bebeji Yellow Mami. This is about the massive amount of love from the parents is so beautiful. Even the most beautiful painting cannot compare with this love. Baby yellow mami Baby yellow mami Kebi Timye daridi New sapwe nuelo mami And what the moment yari go I got queen love don't know pillar in so me long da ma chu so you so no pyo pya lady Kindres ya mi ba uti sa to we ma shi bi Taura piane give tia the boni O the guy ne nine get jadi mi ba yete lo a pyo nation gada no chiso ya ma pya lady The giving deep willow mami Sin da night to Lord Quishin lo me Jesus go yue the go mani be ba mi Do 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 Kindres ya mi ba uti sa to we ma shi bi Ta ora piane
ချစ်စိုးရမပြတ်လေသည်ဒီကေဘင်းတီးပွေလို့မမီအစင်တန်နိုင်ချလို့ခွေရှင်လို့မမီချစ်စိုးကိုရွေတက်ကိုမနေပေးရပါမည်Baby, yellow me. Baby, yellow me. Baby, ten years already. You saw when yellow me. Thank you very much.
The next song is Mita Pyama Lansame. The meaning of this song is love can bring us peace and enjoyable life. Thus, just believe love can always make us happy.
Thank you very much. Patrick, we will skip two songs. We will play now all day by day. All day by day. All day by day. All day by day. Yes. Yep, yep.
The next music is Angzi Bangzi, wishing prosperity and good health for the people.
Take a you very much. If you want to sing, you can sing Thai song. Huh? Are you doing more? Yeah. Stay can do, right? Can do 2 more songs? Yes, good. We love the explanation. Okay. Show me bên này mình nghe là revolution.
Can you do the video for me? Maybe you stand there.
So below yeah, right? Okay, she request for revolution.
Yes.
Patrick, they request revolution again one more time. After that you can sing.
She has a favorite song. She wants to listen.
Okay.
Revolution. Okay. Thả lại đó.
Maybe one of you can explain the song.
Yeah, sure.
Revolution.
Explain everything.
Okay, explain again.
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Now we are going to play Revolution again because of the request. So I would like to tell again about the meaning of this song. Whatever or whenever we are not afraid to fight for our freedom. The whole nation must arise and be alert. Dictatorship must end.
Shin cha shong bo phit ya mi Chaoတရားနဲ့ချုံနောင်လို့မရခဲ့ပြီပြည်သူတွေတိုက်ပွဲအတွက်သင်ဖြစ်ပြီတရားကင်းမဲ့အာဓမနဲ့လို့ရကြပြီအာနာယူကြလေပြီမြို့သားလုံးတို့ကြလို့သိရှိရမည်အာနာရှင်စနစ်ဆုံးတရားမည်ငါတို့ရေယိုနဲ့တွေ့တာတို့သည်အာနာရှင်ကြရှုံးဖို့ဖြစ်ရမည်အကြောက်တရားနဲ့ချုံနောင်လို့မရခဲ့ပြီပြည်သူတွေတိုက်ပွဲအတွက်သင်ဖြစ်ပြီတရားကင်းမဲ့အာဓမနဲ့လို့ရကြပြီအာနာယူကြလေပြီမြို့သားလုံးတို့ကြလို့သိရှိရမည်အာနာရှင်စနစ်ဆုံးတရားမည်
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for paying attention our ensemble. And the next program, now you know, right? In Myanmar, the leader is a female, right? Woman. Today, I wanna sing Thai song composed by the first female composer in Thailand. Her name is Miss Lunatics. But this music, Thai name is Chan Ơi. Chan meaning the moon. And then she didn't talking about just only moon. She also talking about star too. Okay, I know someone know the Thai words. I will tell you the easy Thai words. When I say Chan, you know the moon, and Dao is star. Please pay attention to words. First is Chan. Second is star. Okay, please enjoy with the great female composer of Thailand. 1, 2, 3.จันเอ๋ยเคยสว่างใหญ่จังแสงหรือจันแกล้งเย้าว่าน้องอกมองไม่ลมเจ้าเอ๋ยเคยโชยรื่นชื่นหัวใจเป็นอะไรจึงสงัดไม่พัดเลยดาวเอ๋ยดาวพราวฟ้าอยู่ไกลเป็นไว้ยิบดาวกระพริบตาย้อเราหรือดำจักรจันทร์สนั่นเพรียกเรียกคู่เชยเหมือนจะย้ายว่าเราไม่มีใครปองดาวเอ๋ยดาวพราวฟ้าอยู่ไกลเป็นไว้ยิบดาวกระพริบตาย้อเราหรือดำเอ๋ยจักรจันทร์ สนั่นเพรียงเรียกคู่เชยเหมือนจะย้ายว่าเราไม่มีใครปอง Thank you very much. And the next Thai song, this music is from the Great Thai Music Theater, meaning Thuvipop. But do you know the movie Upside Down, right? Do you know? Yeah, two world and have a go. The boy and the man have love, right? This music is like this, but the name is music is Lom Ơi. Do you know what meaning Lom? Who? Do you know? Lom, wind. This music is a wind of love. If I say Lom, you know, right? What that? This is what is the Lom in English? Wind. Yes. Okay. Please enjoy. ลมเอ่ยเพียงเชยกับเลยพ้นผ่านให้ใจสถานวันไว้ได้ผ่านพ้นไปเหมือนนอนหลับฝันฟื้นคืนไม่เจอหัวใจถึงเงาเพียงใดข่มใจระทมใจเอ่ยไม่เคยจะเจอเนื้อคู่แต่ใครไม่รู้ดูเหมือนมากับสายลมไม่ทันได้ทักไม่ทันได้เชยชิดชมแล้วสายลมโชยให้เธอเลือนลับตาหากเธอคือความฝันอยากกลับไปในฝันเธอคนนั้นคงไม่มีวันร่างเลือนจากฉันไปหากเธอคือความฝันอยากหลับชั่วนิรันดร์อยากจะพบเจอเธออยากมีเธอไว้แนบเคียงใจไม่มีวันลบเลือนลมเจ้าจงพัดไปบอกเธอคนนี้ฉันอยู่ตรงนี้เฝ้ารอหากเธอคือความฝันอยากกลับไปในฝันเธอคงนั้นคงไม่มีวันร่างเลือนจากฉันไปหากเธอคือความฝันอยากหลับชั่วนิรันดร์อยากจะพบเจอเธออยากมีเธอไว้แนบเคียงใจไม่มีวันลบเลือนหากได้พบเจอเธอจะกอดเธอแนบกายไม่มีวันร้างลา And the next Thai song, this is a very favorite in TV show or TV Thai series. But this music based on Your Dear music. Your Dear, you know, Ayutthaya, right? Your Dear music. The meaning this music in Thai is Aw Chao. Aw Chao is meaning Madam or Monsieur or gentleman or lady. This is a very, very polite word. And this meaning อ๋อเจ้า in this music meaning my dear please enjoy 1 2 3 4เจ้าเอ๋ยเคยรู้หรือไม่ตรงนี้ยังมีใครหรือไทยห่วงหาอ๋อเจ้าเอ๋ยงามประกายนภาขอมองไม่ยอมนิทราขอชื่นตาให้พี่ชื่นใจกลัวฉันกลัวว่าจันทร์จะลาจากฟ้าไกลกลัวฉันกลัวว่าใจจะขาดเมื่อร้างลากลัวฉันกลัวอ๋อเจ้าจากไกลไม่เห็นหน้ากลัวชะตาจะมาพรากเราเพียงลับตากระวนกระวายและร้อนรนเพียงมืดมนพี่จะทานทนได้หรือเปล่าเพียงยิ้มมาหัวใจเบิกบานคลายทุกเศร้าเราเนาะเราแค่หนึ่งถึงอ๋อเจ้าเอ๋ยกลัวฉันกลัวว่าจันทร์จะลาจากฟ้าไกลกลัวฉันกลัวว่าใจจะขาดเมื่อร้างลากลัวฉันกลัวอ๋อเจ้าจากไกลไม่เห็นหน้ากลัวชะตาจะมาพรากเราเพียงลับตากระวนกระวายและร้อนรนเพียงมืดมนพี่จะทานทนได้หรือเปล่าเพียงยิ้มมาหัวใจเบิกบานคลายทุกเศร้าเราเนาะเราแค่หนึ่งถึงอ๋อเจ้าเอ๋ยเราเนาะเราข้าหนึ่งถึงอ๋อเจ้าเอ๋ย Thank you very much ขอบคุณมากครับ
I'd just like to thank the fabulous performers. Thank you again, and I hope you will perform again at the club. So I'd just like to, should I maybe stand up there, Kuntam? Yeah, thank you. Thanks again. Hello. I don't think there's that many people left here now, but I'd just like to actually close the event and just say thanks to the Miss Lunatics who provided fabulous food, the mohinga and the salads, and also to thank everyone for coming tonight, and to also say that on February 1st, the actual coup anniversary, we'll have an extremely good lineup of speakers. So please look on, that notice is going up tonight on our website and Facebook. And also on February the 1st, WTF will have a 2-day exhibition of everything to do with the coup. Art, photography, film, everything between 4 and 9 p.m. on February the 1st and 2nd. And before that, between now and January the 30th, go and see Defiant Art at the BACC. Free and organised again by SEA Junction. So please keep that in mind, and thank you everyone. Good night.